This Friday, November 29th, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. NBA Friday games resume here on the schedule. Games all day happening in the association, with the first game tipping off in about 58 minutes here as we record here at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the morning. Got a lot of games to get through, but joining me, of course, here on the NBA Gambling Podcast for this Friday card, got my guy here with me. It's Lonte Smith. Lonte, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Ready for a nice sports weekend. Pretty good weekend. Started off pretty good, so let's hopefully we can, get on the court and get some wins. So doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, it should be a fun day of sports, honestly, all day. We've got NBA starting in an hour. We got college football. We got the NFL game at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time there as well. So it should be a fun weekend of sports, all across the board here. So, Lonte, let's not waste any time, man. Let's get into it. I know we've got a early game, like I mentioned, in Charlotte, and we'll start right there with the New York Knicks. They are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Knicks currently laying 12.5 points in this game with a total of 221.5. Injury report. We'll start here with the New York Knicks. Why do I not see them here? Let me see. Let me refresh the page. Let me try somewhere else. But I know the usual suspects are out for the New York Knicks in Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa. I do believe LaMelo Ball was also already ruled out for this game for the Charlotte Hornets. Miles Bridges is also out for this game as well. Trey Mann, Nick Richards, and Mark Williams for the Charlotte Hornets. And then, for the Knicks side, the usual suspects, Precious Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson, are out. Lonte, Knicks laying 12.5 points in this game. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. You want to do Knicks or nothing here. Charlotte injuries piling up. Not a ton of frontline depth as it is, and now they're dealing with LaMelo being injured, who has been pretty much carrying him the whole season thus far. So I think it'd be a good spot for some cat props. Charlotte, even with LaMelo, they've scored less than 100 points in 2 straight. They have won 4 of their last 6 at home, but obviously a different team here. The Knicks, this is their last game of a 5-game road trip. They're 2-2 thus far. They've allowed 120 plus in 3 of those 4 games, so I expect to see the defense kind of ratchet up a little bit with the less than 100% Charlotte team. So it would be Knicks or nothing for me. I think somebody in the chat was already talking about the first quarter, first half. I can only look there. I wouldn't want to lay a big number. Knicks 5-6 ATS on the road, 7-9 as a favorite. So even with a depleted Charlotte team, I'll stay away from the full game. I'll go first quarter, first half.
Yeah, I think defensively is where it really needs to start for the New York Knicks. So yeah, I like the first half under in this game. Maybe a little bit of a sluggish start for both these teams, especially with the early start right after Thanksgiving. The number right now is at 113.5, currently over on mybookie.ag. So I'll look at it that way. Couldn't talk you off of maybe like a team total under for the Hornets as well.
Yeah,
that's maybe a scary proposition with how the Knicks defense has been playing. But yeah, I think it would be Knicks early and often in this game. That backdoor always is wide open here in the association, as it is in other sports as well. I like the cat prop that you mentioned. I would look at either points go over or rebounds to go over. I did play the over 11.5 rebounds. Like you mentioned, they're real front court depth outside of Taj Gibson for the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe a Taj Gibson revenge game. Teasing about that. You could probably say that for about every other team in the association with Taj Gibson. But yeah, First half under would be the look for me, and the Knicks early and often in this game. And then Cat over 11.5 rebounds is going to be the look here for me. All right, let's get over to the next game on the schedule. Or actually, you know what? Before I do that, let me just remind everybody about the Black Friday sale happening around the March store in honor of Thanksgiving. We're running a massive March sale Thursday through Sunday this week. Everything is 25% off with promo code Black Friday. That's right, 25% off of everything, including hoodies, hats, novelty items, t-shirts. The Refs Are Terrace t-shirts. I know that's one of the popular ones over on our merch store. So right now, 25% off, but make sure you guys use that promo code Black Friday. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the board will be another earlier start. This one a couple of hours after the Knicks and Hornets start. It'll be a 2:40 Eastern start time. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're in Atlanta to take on the Hawks. Cavs currently laying 6 points in this game with a total of 244. Injury report for the Cavs. Karis LeVert is questionable. Max Strus continues to stay out for this Cavs team. For the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young is probable here tonight. Outside of that, everybody is a go. These two teams just matched up on Wednesday, I believe, where the Hawks went into Cleveland and gave them their second loss of the season, winning that game by 11 points, a 2020 night for Trae Young in that spot. So Cavs out for the revenge here, going into Atlanta here. Lonte, what are your thoughts on Cavs Hawks?
Yeah, I love the instant revenge spot for Cleveland here. I also like the over-under. We'll get into that in a little bit. But if you look at what Cleveland's been doing, obviously impressive, probably overly impressive, and not getting enough credit for what they've done thus far. But they led by 19 in that first game. It kind of got away from them. They shot 31% from three. Atlanta shot 39. So I think that's the difference in the game right there. Atlanta also cleaned them up on the glass. Atlanta's one of those teams that they have a decent amount of depth, like front line depth, to be able to combat what Allen and Mobley are able to do on the glass. They were +7 on the glass. Atlanta also had 7 in double figures, 3 with 20+. And it wasn't like Cleveland didn't play extremely well. I mean, they didn't shoot the ball extremely well, but I mean, Donovan Mitchell had 30, Mobley had 22. I think Garland had 19. Ancillary pieces didn't do a ton. So I think they step up in this spot here. Cleveland 6-2 ATS on the road. Atlanta, I mean, they're 2-4 in their last 6. 5 of those have been on the road. They lost to Portland and Chicago, which were bad. So they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde. You never know what you're going to get with them. They're 2-7 ATS at home. I think instant revenge spot for Cleveland is pretty good here. Atlanta's one of the worst defenses in the NBA. I think Cleveland will have success here. Get some revenge. So I'll lay the number with Cleveland on the road.
Yeah, +15 were the Hawks from the 3-point line in that game back on Wednesday, where they shot 47.6%, knocked down 20 of 42 3-pointers. And I think that's been the detriment of this Cleveland Cavaliers team thus far this season, that their 3-point defense has not been very good. In fact, both of these teams, honestly, are bottom in the league in 3-point defense. They also made 2 more free throws than the Cleveland Cavaliers, and doesn't maybe sound like much, but they were 23 of 25 from the free throw line, where the Cavs were 21 for 28 there. And also they out-rebounded them. I mean, they looked like they beat them in every single category outside of steals in this game, where the Cavs were +5. But I'd like the instant revenge here for the Cavs here. I will lay the -6 here with the Cavs. Totals at 244 here. Lonte, any thoughts on the total?
Yeah, I like the over. I mean, you just got to keep betting Atlanta overs, especially when they're at home. 7 of the 9 games, 7 of the 9 home games have went over. I mean, we saw this get to it was 135, 124, right? So that's what 259. And I mean, that was a fairly competitive game through and through, outside of whenever Cleveland was up. But I mean, Atlanta's going to keep fighting. Both teams are top 10 in scoring, top 7 in pace. So the pace is going to be there. Both teams are also over 65% of their games. I think we see a track meet here. I think that also bodes well for Cleveland, who's able to play a little bit better defense. If they can defend the 3, which is one of Cleveland's weaknesses defensively, they can't defend the 3. But it's up to Atlanta to kind of hit those. But I think they'll make some adjustments with the, they got the film, had a day to go over it, a day in between games. So I think both teams will be able to score. I think Cleveland will score just a little bit more. So I'm expecting somewhat of the same result, just with Cleveland winning about 130 to, like 120-ish.
Yeah, 7-2 towards the over in Atlanta Hawks home games this season. They are giving up 121 to the opposition. And if you want to look at it from last season, the most profitable team towards the over at home, 34-16 towards the over. That's 68% to the over in those Hawks games at home. So yeah, couldn't talk you off of that. Cavs team total over, full game over. I think this could, really turn into another barn burner between these two squads there. So laying the chalk here and taking the over in this game here, 244 between the Cavs and the Hawks. All right, Lonte, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the schedule, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. They are in Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. Grizzlies currently laying 11 points in this game with a total of 232. Injury report for the New Orleans Pelicans. We got questionable tags on Jordan Hawkins, Brandon Ingram, and Trey Murphy III. Guys that are officially out for the Pelicans will be Herb Jones and Zion Williamson as well. We did see the return of CJ McCollum and DeJounte Murray for the Pelicans in their last game, but it really didn't matter as the Toronto Raptors got their first road win of the season there against the Pelicans. But, I mean, this team has just been decimated by injuries. That's just what it is right now for this squad. For the Memphis Grizzlies, relatively healthy. John Moran is probable today. Gigi Jackson, Zach Edey, and Vince Williams Jr. are all going to be out in this game. But Grizzlies laying 11 points here. Lonte with a total of 232. What are your thoughts on the spread?
Yeah, so if you look at some of the games that they've been playing, Memphis, against these bottom tier teams, they've been throttling them. I mean, if you just look at the last 3 games, or actually they've won 4 in a row. They beat Detroit, Portland, Philadelphia, and Chicago. I think Detroit is probably the outlier. They actually, I mean, record-wise, they're probably, one of the worst teams, but they do play hard. They cover numbers. But Memphis has been, actually, they played Memphis pretty tough in the first quarter, first half. It's just Memphis kind of wore them down towards the end. But they're averaging 132 points per game in the last 3. They've covered 9 of the last 10. They're 8-3 ATS at home. I mean, they're destroying these bad teams, and I don't think it stops here. Pelicans 6-game losing streak, 7 straight on the road. They lost 7 straight on the road. 1-8 straight up in ATS on the road. Their only win was versus a Portland team when they were fully healthy with Zion. So they haven't won a road game since Zion got injured. They are getting a little bit more healthy with DeJounte being back and CJ being back, but I think they're unbackable until they kind of get in a rhythm. Maybe you want to back them closer to after Christmas or going into Christmas break or something like that. But just right now, not a good team to back, especially against a Memphis team. They're going to get Ja back, fully healthy. He's had a few games off. I think he played 2 games ago. Took the night off in their last game against I forgot who they played, but he's back, and I think they'll be rejuvenated at home where they're really good. I like Memphis team total over, and I wouldn't do anything besides lay the number. Love Memphis in the first half as well. They bury teams in the first half. First quarter, they're one of the top teams coming out early. So Memphis early. If you want to play it, I would play the big number, laying it. But I love the team total over as well.
Yeah, they played the Pistons in the last game, beat them by 20 without John Morant in there. It was Scottie Pippen Jr., who's been filling in very, very nicely for that team at that backup point guard position. Jalen Wells, Desmond Bain, Triple J, and then Brandon Clark. So this team is relatively healthy, man. They're looking good. You do get John Morant playing here on the Friday card, or the Friday game, I should say. Pelicans on the road this season, it just hasn't been pretty. 1-8 straight up, 1-8 ATS.
Yep.
They're giving up 116 points per game in that span. They're getting outscored 116-97 in that span. And look, a lot of that obviously is injury driven, right? Because they haven't had their top 6-7 guys, even beyond that thus far this season. But I don't think DeJounte Murray and CJ McCollum will be enough in this game. We'll see if Brandon Ingram does go in this game or not. I feel that's questionable. But like, Lonte mentioned, that the Grizzlies just beat up on these lesser, weaker opponents of the, of the association right now. So Grizzlies team total over is a great call there. I'll also lay it here with the Grizzlies. I don't want anything to do with this Pelicans team right now, or at least going forward. All right, Lonte, before we do continue the conversation here for the Friday card, let me tell everyone about our good old friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog, it's feast week here over at Underdog Fantasy from Wednesday, November 27th through Saturday, November 30th. And during feast week, they will be featuring Profit Boost, discount coins, gimme picks, and much more. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NASCAR, WNBA, and much more. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the schedule, we'll go with the Orlando Magic. They are in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Nets are currently catching 7 points in this game with a total of 208.5. Now see some 7.5s popping up in favor of the Magic here. But injury report, I think, is what's really driving this number. For the Orlando Magic, let's start there. Obviously, continuing without Paolo Banchero. Gary Harris is out for them as well. For the Brooklyn Nets, no Bojan Bogdanovic, no Noah Clowney, and Dennis Schroeder is out. Day'Ron Sharpe is out. Cam Thomas is out as well. Questionable tags on Nick Claxton, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Jalen Wilson. So much like the Memphis Grizzlies, they are, maybe not as talented, quote unquote, I guess, maybe for lack of better words, but at least their top players on the Brooklyn Nets seem like they are going to be out, or if not questionable, here tonight. But you got to give a lot of credit to this Brooklyn Nets team for the way they've been playing basketball. Honestly, for them to have the lowest win total on the win they've gone out and performed thus far this season, especially on the West Coast trip that they just recently had earlier this week, has been very, very impressive. But nonetheless, here, Lonte, 7 is the number right now in favor of the Magic on the road against the Nets.
Yeah, got to lay it here with Orlando with all the injuries that Brooklyn. I was going to look at Brooklyn if Schroeder was in. I'm kind of worried about their depth, especially the guard depth. You don't want to have a lack of guard depth against Orlando, who's really pesky defensively with Suggs. You got Isaac on the back line. And, man, give credit to Mosley and those guys for what they've been doing without Paolo. So they're 10-1 in their last 11 straight up, 9-1 ATS their last 10. They've covered 10 of 13 as a favorite. If you look at what they've done against the Eastern Conference, they're also 10-3 straight up. They're also averaging 107 points per game, and they've outscored their opponents by almost 5 points. So they're doing all of this without their best player and without being able to have, a ton of offensive success. They're 30th in 3-point percentage. They're pretty much bottom 6 or 7 in all of the offensive metrics, but they win with defense. And they've been doing that. They had a breakout game, I think 133, their last game against Washington? No, Chicago. But everybody scores 130 on Chicago, so you don't want to look too much into that. But without Dennis, without Cam, and a couple of those other guys, I just don't think Brooklyn will have enough. Credit to them, though, like you mentioned, they're 14-5 ATS on the season, 12-3 as a dog.
Yeah.
So they're one of the best ATS teams in the NBA. The biggest advantage that I think they have here, Orlando, is that Brooklyn is last in fast break points. So they try to excel in the half court. You can't do that against Orlando. You want to run against Orlando so they don't set their defense. So Brooklyn's going to have some struggles here, and that was with Cam Thomas. Those numbers are with Cam Thomas and Dennis Schroeder in the lineup. Without those guys in the lineup, I don't think you'll be have success here. I think Orlando smothers them, so I like Orlando here in this spot.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time, honestly. I understand the injury perspective here for the Brooklyn Nets. They're just finding ways, and I don't think that's I could be completely wrong where the Orlando Magic actually just blow them out just based on the injuries. But the first half, how Brooklyn has been playing has been absolutely phenomenal. So I think that's something that I can't get away from. This might just be a game where I watch and see what some of the younger or some of the depth pieces of Brooklyn is able to do in this game, even without their top guys being out there. But their head coach, Jordi Fernandez, has just an absolutely fantastic job thus far this season with this team. So I think this might be like the public chalky play of the day for the Orlando Magic, but I'm just going to get in and get out with my money and take the Nets in the first half. And then again, if they are down, double digits, so be it. But I think that's just a trend, and the way this team just comes out and plays basketball. It just tells you how prepared they are, coming out of the locker room before the game starts and how well they've been playing. So I'll take the Nets in the first half here as my bet for this game. You have anything on the total 208.5?
Yeah, I like under. Both teams bottom 6 in pace. Actually, Brooklyn is last in pace, and without Dennis and Cam, I mean, I don't even know who their backup guards are. I mean, Jalen Wilson's banged up. I mean, he's been handling a lot of the ball duties whenever Dennis or Cam has been out. So I don't know who's going to play guard for them. And I mean, it's a tough Orlando defense, especially in the half court. They don't run, so it's going to be tough. Orlando's third in defensive rating. I think they would want to slow it down. To be honest, I don't think you want to run because you don't have the depth to be able to run guys in and out of the lineup. So I like under. I think Orlando smothers. I think both teams probably struggle to get to 105-ish because Orlando can't shoot the ball, so they're relying a lot on turning defense to offense. So yeah, I like the under.
Yeah, right there with you on the under there as well. You mentioned the pace numbers. Orlando Magic have been great defensively. Brooklyn, again, with the guys being out there, compromises their offense. We'll see who shows up. I mean, for like Cam Johnson's really honestly their only option right now as far as offense does go. But I think they're really gonna have to, if they want to stay in this game, it's really have to be on the defensive side of the basketball. Yeah, Ben Simmons as well. Defensively, at least we'll say that much. Offensively, already seen a couple of highlights there where he's just botched layups for the Brooklyn Nets. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the schedule, we'll go over to the LA Clippers. They are in Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. Timberwolves currently laying 6 points in this game with a total of 214. Injury report. Start with the Clippers here. Where is the Clipper? Oh, there we go. So they will be without the usual suspects. I'm not going to read the entire list. Norman Powell is officially listed as questionable in this game. I did see on Wednesday he participated in shoot around for the Clippers, but it got ultimately ruled out in that game against the Wizards. Definitely didn't need him. James Harden turned back the clock at time, having 43 points in that game for the LA Clippers as they smothered and killed the Washington Wizards. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, very healthy squad. Only player that's out is Joe Ingles. 6 is the number right now in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves here. Lonte, what are your thoughts on this game?
Man, two teams going in totally opposite directions. I like the Clippers here plus the points. I mean, we saw Ant call those guys out for lack of communication and not being able to execute the coach's game plan. He looked a little frustrated, but I mean, Ant is Ant, so you can't really put too much into it. But he was emphatic about them not being able to, attack and be better defensively on communication. Called them like kids. So usually we see teams respond when stuff like that happens, especially when a star player calls them out. But I mean, look at this, the Clippers team, another great coaching job by Tyronn Lue, because I mean, I think the Clippers win total got hammered down whenever the Kawhi news was coming in.
It's like
I mean,
35.5, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, they've been phenomenal. 6-4 last 10 ATS. They're holding their opponents to around 107 points per game in that span. They're 6-1 in their last 7. They got wins over Golden State, Orlando, and Sacramento. So they're beating up on, so they're winning against good teams. They've held 6 of those 7 opponents to 105 or fewer, 5 of those under 100. So their defense is locked in. I mean, that's Tyronn Lue's specialty. ATS-wise, they're 13-7. ATS 7-3 in their last 10. 6-3 on the road, so their defense is traveling. And if you get vintage games like that from Harden, I think that only helps the case. Norman Powell coming back gives them an extra offensive piece, which they need. And I mean, I just don't trust Minnesota right now. I mean, 3-7 straight up and ATS last 10, 2-7 ATS at home, and they're laying points here. I mean, if this was a normal spot, like if Minnesota had just, they hadn't lost, I think they lost 4 straight. If they were coming off of just a 1 loss here, maybe. But I can't do it against the Clippers team who's surging, playing really good basketball. The defense is locked in. I mean, you're not even doing it with offense per se. They're doing it more so with their defense, as those numbers suggest. Holding those teams to under 100 points. So I like the Clippers here. I expect Minnesota to maybe come out a little bit fired up. So maybe a Minnesota first quarter, first half. But outside of that, I expect the Clippers to kind of settle in and their defense to kind of take over the game. And down the stretch, Minnesota struggles down the stretch. So I like the Clippers plus the points here.
Yeah, Clippers for me here as well. I mean, you mentioned it right now. It's just I think I was one of the few that was down on this Timberwolves team.
I was with you.
After the trade that transpired between the Knicks and the T-Wolves here, of course, with the Cat and the Julius Randle trade. I mean, Julius Randle is averaging 21.8 points per game, but it just feels like it's very unimpactful for this Minnesota Timberwolves team. You take a look at their numbers at home so far this season. They are 5-4 straight up, but just 2-7 ATS. And obviously they've been favored in all 9 home games, but it's just not good vibes right now out of the Minnesota Timberwolves team. And, you know, sometimes eye test tells you a lot. And I think that this is one of the teams where I've been watching it, that the eye test tells me that it's not good right now. Like you mentioned, two teams that are going in opposite directions. And you got to give the Clippers a lot of credit, right? I thought this would be the team that would be, or one of the teams that would be down in the Western Conference. But James Harden has done a great job. And I think the other depth pieces have also stepped up. Hopefully Norman Powell does play tonight because his 21 points per game has been impactful for this LA Clippers team. And I think it also could be a huge coaching mismatch in this game here as well. Like you mentioned, Ty Lue has done a fantastic job guiding this Clippers team thus far. Chris Finch, a lot of times the camera's going to me. He just has his WTF face on, and just kind of feels like he doesn't know what he's doing out there. But it's just again the inconsistency of a Dante. You know, we thought that he was going to be one of the good or better depth pieces coming off the bench for this team, but they're just lacking a lot of in areas without Anthony Edwards out there. So. Yeah, give me the Clippers here, catching the points plus the 6. I think they can get this done, maybe even on the money line here straight up as well. But I definitely do like them plus 6 in the game. You have anything on the total at 214?
Yeah, love the under, man. Clippers under in 13-20. I think if you like the Clippers, you like under. If you like Minnesota, you want to lean towards the over. But I like the under here. I mean, we just mentioned it with the Clippers defense. Minnesota, I expect them to come out a little bit better defensively. So maybe if that's slowing the pace down, not shooting as many threes, I think maybe they revert back to what they were doing last year because obviously what they're doing this year is not working. It looks good. You know, he's shooting the hell out of the ball, but it's just not resulting in wins. Clippers can control the glass. They're 7th in rebound and Minnesota's 26th. So I think it'll be a lot of, you know, slowing the ball down in a half court for the Clippers. So I like the under.
Yeah, under from here as well. Again, we both like the Clippers here, so it'd be more the, you know, a lower scoring defensive game here, I think, between these two squads. Just taking a look at the Clippers on the road this season, not much there, 4-4-1 on the total. So, but again, with these two teams, they don't play very, very high pace. I think defensive intensity should be ramped up in this game as well. So, yeah, under for me in this game as well. All right. Let's keep it rolling here. We'll get over to the Boston Celtics. They are in Chicago to take on the Bulls. Currently, as it stands, the Celtics are laying 11.5 points in this game with a total of 243.5. Excuse me. Injury report. I'll start here with the Boston Celtics. Pretty clean injury report. Luke Cornett is also probable in this game, so they're fully healthy. For the Chicago Bulls, Lonzo Ball is probable in this game. Jalen Smith is questionable. Dallin Terry is questionable. Kobe White is questionable, and Patrick Williams continues to be out. So let me just repeat that. Questionable tags on Jalen Smith, Kobe White, and Dallin Terry. Confirmed out is Patrick Williams, and Lonzo Ball is probable in this game for the Bulls. So a little bit of depth coming back, at least in the backcourt there for the Chicago Bulls. But Celtics laying 11.5 here. Lonte, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, just I'll stay away from the side. But if you look at what Boston's been doing, they haven't been covering these big numbers. I think the last two times they were playing Toronto, Atlanta, and I forgot the other team, but they weren't able to cover either of those numbers. I mean, those were a little bit bigger numbers, but yeah, I just don't trust them to cover this number. They won 6 in a row. They scored 120 in 4 of those. But they're 3-7 ATS their last 10. Chicago's right around 500. Chicago's been alternating like win-loss for the past few weeks, so they're inconsistent. Inconsistency showing. They're allowing 126.8 points per game in their last 10. I mean, that just leads me to the Boston team total over. I mean, I don't think you can play anything else other than that. That would be probably one of the best plays in this game. The Chicago's 22nd in turnovers, which means Boston's going to pester them at the point of attack, get easy baskets. I think they score at will. Both teams top 5 in points per game. Chicago's first in pace. And I think that's the reason why they're 22nd in turnovers, because they don't have the guys to kind of take care of the ball. Both top 3 in three-pointers made and top 10 in percentage. Both over in 6 of the last 10. Chicago's actually 12-8 to the over this year. So I would be Boston team total over and the full game over. For the side, if I had to play it, I would just play Chicago. I just don't trust, Boston to latest type of number. Maybe if you want to look at Boston, look at first quarter, first half.
Yeah, it's Boston on the road. I don't care who they're playing, double digits. I'm not laying it with them, but you nailed it 100%. That if you want to back Boston, it's got to be on the offensive side and just taking their team totals to go over in this game. Boston on the road this season, 8-1 straight up. They are 5-4 ATS, 3-6 actually to where on the over there. So 6-3, I should say, to the under. They are averaging 122 points per game, but it's, again, we've talked about how bad this Bulls defense has been throughout the season, and just overall 12-7-1 towards the over, and in particular at home this season, 2-6 straight up, 3-5 ATS. And again, for this Celtics team, the scary part is now that they're actually healthy. And for this Bulls team, again, until I see some improvement on the defensive side, I really honestly can't back them here. So, not going to lay the double digits here. This is the first meeting this season for these two teams there. But, I mean, you just take a look over the last three matchups, and this goes back to last season, Lonte, 3 games that they played each other. Celtics scored 124, 129, and 124. So they scored a minimum of 124 in all 3 of those games. Quickly, let me just see what the team total in this game is for the Boston Celtics. That number is sitting at, it's probably going to be north of 125 if I'm at minimum, I think. It's 128.5 in this game. I think that's the highest I've ever seen a number. But look, again,
I mean, they just gave up 133 to they gave up 133 to, I forgot, Memphis, maybe, I think.
Let me see here. I have their schedule in front of me. So it was the Orlando Magic.
Orlando. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they did beat Washington, but again, who's not beating Washington right now? But they gave up 142 to the Memphis Grizzlies. I want to say that was without Ja in that game.
It was.
Right. And then let's see. They gave up 122 to the Bucks, 143 to the Rockets, 144 to the Cavs. So I think they're the only team that's given up 140 plus points already 3 times this season. So it's a big number, 128.5. So, I mean, if you're not confident in that, maybe just play it as a half a unit, or if you want to spread it across like first half team total, full game
first half team total.
I think that would be the way to go, because we know Boston has been a really, really good team in the first half, dating back to the last couple of seasons. So that would be the look there for me. I'll quickly mention a player prop here, and I'll keep an eye on this, but I know Lonzo Ball is back, but betting on point guards assists to go over against the Chicago Bulls has been a very, very profitable angle. They're allowing the most assists to the point guard position this season. So I think it's going to be Derek White where I would want to look at it. His number's at 4.5 for him in this game. I know Drew Holiday is a traditional point guard, but he's really not getting the assists for this team. But with Lonzo back, I'm gonna keep my eye on it, just because, again, he gives them more of a defensive presence in that backcourt. But Derek White over 4.5 assists would be a look, at least for a player prop, that I would have in this game. You have anything else for this game, Lonte?
No, I didn't.
All right, before we continue the conversation here for the Friday card, let me tell everyone about our friends over at mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie has been running on SGPN for years. Check out their new and improved website, great on mobile, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options are available. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus match up to $1,000 and a $10 casino chip as well. That's mybookie.ag. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered back sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, NBA. Rhythm has it all. And looking at their best props for today in the association, Rhythm does like, let's see here. They like Brandon Miller, rebounds and assists to go over in this game early in the Knicks and the Hornets game. And maybe a little bit further in the later games, they also do like Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder for his rebounds and assists to go over 10.5. They're predicting he'll have 14.7 in that game against the Lakers. We'll get to that game later on. But again, claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, Lonte, let's keep it rolling here. We've got the next game on the schedule. Oh, Malice in the Palace. We've got or it's not in the Palace, but the two teams, at least infamously, that were involved in it. We've got the Detroit Pistons. They are in Indiana to take on the Pacers. Pacers currently laying 5.5 points in this game with a total of 229. Let me just make sure the updated numbers in this game. Yes, it is. All right. So injury report. I'll start here with the road team, the Detroit Pistons. Cade is officially questionable in this game, as well as Tobias Harris. And that is pretty much the significant injuries for the Detroit Pistons. So Cade and Tobias Harris, keep your eyes out for those officially questionable. For the Indiana Pacers, the depth pieces continue to be out. Isaiah Jackson, Andrew Nembhard, and Aaron Nesmith. All three of those guys are out, as well as Ben Shepherd. Forgot to mention his name as well. So Isaiah Jackson, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, and Ben Shepherd all out for this Indiana Pacers team. Pacers currently laying 5.5 points in this game here. Lonte, total of 229. I think, honestly, it just comes down to me if Cade plays in this game or not.
Yeah, that's the complete handicap that I had. I mean, if he's out, this number is way short. I think they're factoring it in kind of. I think it maybe what they're laying like 7.5, 8 if he's out. Because if he's in, I think this should be probably like right around like 4.5, 5-ish. Yeah. But I mean, Detroit's lost 3 straight on the road. They've lost by an average of about 11.5 points per game. They're turning the ball over at a high rate. And if Cade's out of the game, he controls a ton of that offense. So you want to look at Indiana to kind of score off those turnovers if he's out. Indiana's trying to be a little bit more consistent. They won 3 in a row after losing 3 straight, but they haven't been covering numbers at all. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant. I mean, they're 2-7-1 ATS the last 10. They're 4-4-1 ATS at home. I mean, we're accustomed to Indiana playing well at home. Now, maybe this is a good get-right spot for them, especially if Cade's out. But I can't make a play on it until I know if Cade's in. And it's kind of a cop-out. But if he's in, and we'll see where the number goes. And I'll look at Detroit. But if he's out, 5.5 is short. If it doesn't move, I would lay all the way up to about 7 if he's out.
Yeah, honestly that's the handicap, right? And again, I just we hate to give out the cop-out answer, but it's just been how well Cade Cunningham has been playing for this Detroit Pistons team. And you mentioned the turnovers, right? It's like when you have this type of player at that point guard position, you're going to limit the turnovers. And you're going to have that offense flowing with a guy like Cade out there. And he's just been absolutely fantastic, averaging 23.5 points per game, close to 9 assists per game as well. The rebounding has been there for him as well. And this is a player that we were all expecting Cade to be when he came out of Oklahoma State, right? I know he had battled injuries early on in his career, but now healthy. I know he's missed a couple games here, but when he's on the floor, he's been an absolutely fantastic player here for the Detroit Pistons here. Mm-hmm. So if he's in, like the Pistons side, if he's going to be out, would be on the Pacers there. Pacers, they've been a team, and I think this kind of translates in the total here, Lonte, that, last season we saw this team flying up and down the court, but offensively, they've been limited this season just because of the depth pieces that have been out, right? We talked about Aaron Nesmith,
Ben Shepherd,
Andrew Nembhard, Ben Shepherd. So those are guys that can contribute coming off of the bench for them. So I'm a little weary on the total here. I know the Pistons defense hasn't been there. I don't know. I'm not going to take a lot away from that Toronto Raptors game because it was Toronto there. I think that was Scotty Barnes. I want to say that maybe his first or second game back since the injury, but they did just give up 131 to the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja in there. So I would look at the Pacers team total, but I'm not as confident in that as I was in that last season when they were healthy and playing at a very, very high rate.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed it up because those turnovers for Detroit are only going to get higher if Cade's not in the game. And I think Indiana, if they want to run and gun, this is the team to run and gun against because, you don't want to set the defense up and have Durant kind of roam in the paint, doing what he does. And also Tobias is a game time decision, right? So that's another piece that you have who helps with rebounding as well. I mean, they're fourth in rebounding. Indiana is only 27th, so that takes away some of their stuff on the glass. And I think Miles Turner will be able to pull Duren away from the basket. So that kind of negates what he does. So okay, yeah, I can kind of see an Indiana team total as well.
Yeah, and then Duren rebounds has just been one of the player props.
Except when we bet him like last Friday.
Yeah. But outside like that, I just can't figure it out with him. Like, I just don't know what the minutes distribution is going to be for him, because there was a game that they had just recently gone to overtime. It was in Toronto. And I thought he had an advantageous matchup in that game, and he only played 24 minutes and fell well below his rebounding number there. So yeah, this guy I'm staying away from right now. Pacers, I mean, I'll quickly mention this before we get over to the next game. They're usually top 5 in pace, but they're number 11 this season. Very not Indiana Pacers-esque there. Maybe that improves as we progress through the season here, but that's a little bit surprising to see with the Rick Carlisle and Indiana Pacer team here. So we'll leave it at that. All right. Next game in the schedule here. We'll go over to the Toronto Raptors. They are in South Beach to take on the Miami Heat. Heat are currently laying 8 points in this game with a total of 219. Injury report. Start here with the Toronto Raptors. Bruce Brown continues to be out for this team. Grady Dick is out for this game as well, along with Emmanuel Quickley and Kelly Olynyk. So Bruce Brown, Grady Dick, Kelly Olynyk, Emmanuel Quickley, all out for this game. For the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler is probable. Kevin Love is questionable. And that is pretty much it. Everybody else is a go in this game. And Haywood Highsmith is also available in this game here. So Kevin Love, the only questionable tag here for the Miami Heat. Heat currently laying 8 points in this game here, Lonte, with a total of 219. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Too high, man. Too high for Miami to be laying. I mean, they're 2-5 ATS at home. I know Toronto struggled 1-10 straight up on the road. They're 2-7 straight up versus Eastern Conference opponents. But if you look at what they've been doing ATS, 13-6 ATS, 7-4 on the road. They're a fast break team. They run a ton. They're averaging just under 20 fast break points per game, which is best in the NBA. They rebound the ball well. They're first in offensive rebound percentage, 5th in rebounding overall. The thing that they have to kind of key in on is their turnovers. They're 27th in turnovers. And I think that comes without having Scotty Barnes on the floor. I think those numbers are kind of inflated due to him missing that, 3 or 4 weeks earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Now that he's back, I think they're a little bit more under control. They got a little bit more rhythm in them with Scotty and RJ being there. I like Jakob Poeltl in the middle. So yeah, I think Toronto. I mean, too many. Miami's just an average. I mean, they're an average team. I don't think they should be playing 8. I think it should be closer to 5-ish. I mean, and what has Miami done to be laying this number? I know Toronto is putrid on the road, but they've been covering numbers. I mean, 7-4 ATS on the road, and they're covering numbers similar to this, in between that 8 and 12 range against the good teams, and 4 and 5 against the bad teams. So yeah, I like Toronto here. I wouldn't be surprised if they, on the brink of winning this outright.
Yeah, I think, and Frederick mentioned this in the chat there about the, obviously, you guys know these are all cup games, so the point differential at this juncture is what maybe we see maybe some overs coming in these games, and right now. But it's also hard to gauge, what's the motivation for these teams to advance in the NBA Cup? Do they care for it? Do they not care for it? And there's some teams that we've talked about, throughout the, Tuesday and Friday episodes. So yeah, they're going for it. They want to, go out there and play the NBA Cup and win those games and, try to be the second winners of that NBA Cup.
Yep.
So just looking at it right now, this is a Group B matchup in the Eastern Conference, obviously. Miami Heat right now 1-2. In these cup games, they have a point differential of +8. Raptors 0-2 with a -18. So I think we may, I don't know. And kind of also going back to the Pacers game as well, right? They're 0-2 in these cup games. They have a -25 point differential in those spots there. So you're right. We've talked a lot about this. Terrell has been, the leader on this about not laying points with the Miami Heat at home, and I'm just trying to see the updated number this season for the Miami Heat at home.
2
it's
and 5
continuing,
ATS.
Yeah, 2-5 ATS this season at home. So I think reluctantly I'll take the Raptors +8 here. Total, I honestly kind of like the over in this game at 219 here. Lonte, you have anything on the total?
Yeah, I would like the under. Toronto's under in 8 of their last 10, 8 of the last 11 on the road have went under. Miami's under in 4 of 7 at home, and as a favorite, they're 70% to the under at home. I just think that if Toronto, I mean, I know Toronto likes to run and gun, but Miami's defense is pretty good, and I know they've been making a lot of threes, but I just don't think their recipe is to want to run with Toronto. I think they might want to slow it down a tad bit and kind of limit Toronto and make them make them score in a half court. So it'd be under or nothing for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I couldn't talk you off it. Again, it just really comes down to what the motivation is for these cup games for a lot of these teams here. And I think for the Raptors, I don't think they really honestly care. They're just trying to get healthy. They're 0-2 as well. Miami 1-2, and I believe it's the top 2 teams advance, right, in each of the.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right in the cup games there. So, yeah, keep that in mind here when we're talking about these games here as well. Obviously, you guys already know that. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the schedule, we'll go over to the Sacramento Kings. They are in Portland to take on the Blazers. Currently, as it stands, the Kings are a 7-point road favorite here with a total of 226. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams here, I'll start here with the Sacramento Kings. DeMar DeRozan is officially out for this game. Trey Lyles is out as well, and Devin Carter continues to be out for the Sacramento Kings team. For the Portland Trail Blazers, guys that are out officially are Matisse Thybulle and Donovan Clingan. Doubtful tags on Robert Williams III and on Jeremy Grant. And questionable tag on Chris Murray. So don't expect Robert Williams, Jeremy Grant, and obviously Donovan Clingan out there. So a little bit of depth pieces getting hurt in this game. And no DeMar DeRozan for the Sacramento Kings. Kings laying 7 points on the road here. Lonte, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, got to hold your nose and take Portland here, man. Portland,
yeah,
they're coming home after a 5-game road trip where they went 1-4. They're on a 3-game home winning streak. They've covered 5 of their last 8 at home. They're also, for what it's worth, I mean, they're decent ATS. 11-7-1 ATS as a dog, and they've been dogs in pretty much all of the games. I think every one of them actually. Sacramento 4-6 straight up in their last, or both of these teams 4-6 straight up in their last 10. Sacramento bottom 3 in 3-point makes and 3-point percentage. Portland is bottom 5, so I think we see a slower paced game. Portland, I mean, I wanted Jeremy Grant to be in. I think this would have been a smash spot for me for Portland. But Sacramento, I mean, they're just kind of going through the motions. They've been pretty much an average team. I mean, they got that win against Minnesota last game, but I think that was like 105, 104 Minnesota until Minnesota kind of threw the game away. But Sacramento hasn't been really impressive. I'd rather be backing them in a short road dog road or a short, home favorite role. I don't think they're capable of covering, even against Portland. I think they're capable of winning by, multiple, 10 points here or 8 points here. So I think it'd be a slow-paced game. I think Portland, who has been really good defensively as of late, I mean, they're top half in defensive rating. I think that Portland can kind of get them here. I think they give them a game. So give me the +7 with Portland.
I think the only part that does concern me for the Blazers in this game is that they really won't have that front court depth. I know Ayton is back for this team. He had a really good game in their last game on that road trip. I forgot, was it Pacers? I think they played.
Did they play
in their last game? They did play Blazers,
Pacers,
right?
Yeah, they played them tough. Yeah, they played them tough.
Yeah,
they got away from them in the second half. In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think for this Kings team, I just don't trust them laying this big of a number on the road. Honestly, I'm trying to find their ATS numbers on the road here. So they are 5-4 straight, but 5-4 ATS. Kings as an away favorite thus far this season, 3-3 straight up, 3-3 ATS. So not really separating much there, but the road opponents that they've won against are the Jazz in that first game of the regular season. Then they beat the Hawks on the road, and then they beat the Suns on the road. But I believe that was a game without Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant in that game.
Yeah,
right? And the teams that they lost to the Raptors, they lost to the Spurs, and they lost to the Clippers there. So I'm with you. I think it's the Blazers here for me here as well until I see, the Kings start playing more consistent on the road. I think that's kind of been their downfall over the past several seasons, especially on the road there. So, yeah, I'll take the Blazers plus the 7 here. Total of 226. Lonte, I didn't have much for the total. You have anything for the total?
Yeah, love the under. Like I mentioned, both teams struggling to shoot the ball from outside. Sacramento, we're accustomed to seeing Sacramento play with a little bit more pace. But as of late, I think since they've got DeRozan, they kind of, excuse me, slowed it down a little bit. They don't have a ton of depth. I know Malik Monk he's working his way back. I think he's been back for a few games now, but they don't have a ton of depth at all. Portland, which kind of negates what Portland's missing here. And Portland's missing a ton of their bigs, but their guards and their forwards are still there. I mean, outside of Jimmy Grant. So I think they'll be able to slow the game down when playing at half court through Ayton. I expect Simons to have a big game as well. So I like the under. I mean, Portland's under in 7 of their last 10. Sacramento's right around 500 over under on the season. If we expect Portland to win this game, I think it's going to have to be an ugly one. So I think they ugly it up. I think they cover the number. I think they might be live to win it outright as well. So I like the under. I like Portland under.
I'm just curious to see what Ayton has done against the Kings from a rebounding perspective. He's had double-digit rebounding games against them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 straight games. And in 8 of those 10 games, he's had more than 11 or more rebounds. And the number right now for his rebounds is at 10.5. So without that front court depth there, like we talked about, no Donovan Clingan, no Robert Williams, Time Lord in this game. I think Ayton up and over his rebounds, I think is a good call. I see you guys talking about it in the chat there as well. So yeah, great call there as well. So I was got some bonus rebounds as well. 12.5. I mean, we know he can get that there, but I think Ayton would definitely be the play in this game as far as rebounding goes. All right, Lonte, last game of the night should be the game of the night here. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are in LA to take on the Lakers. Currently, as it stands, the Thunder are laying 3 points in this game with a total of 230.5. Let me get back to my odd screen here. Just make sure we have the updated number. Yeah, -3, 230 is a total. Injury report, start here with the Oklahoma City Thunder. No Alex Caruso, no revenge game, unfortunately. Chet Holmgren continues to be out. And Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, continues to be out for this team as well. For the Lakers, guys that are out, the usual guys: Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes is doubtful for tonight. Anthony Davis is probable, and Bronny James is out for this game. He's dealing with the left heel contusion. So the usual guys out for the Lakers. All right, Thunder laying 3 points in this game here, Lonte. Total of 230.5. What are you thinking about the side?
Good spot for the Lakers, man. I love the Lakers here. They play OKC extremely well. If you look at historically, they've won 4 of the last 5 versus OKC. They covered in all 4 games, so they've got the game plan. I mean, that was with Darvin Ham. I think everybody would assume that it's a coaching upgrade with JJ. Both teams 7-3 last 10. We know what OKC does defensively. But I think the Lakers, they do a good job of not turning the ball over. And that kind of negates OKC's pressure. They're first in steals, first in defensive rating, like I said. Anthony Davis should have a monster game with the lack of interior depth. I know Hartenstein's kind of working his way back in, but this is a complete step up in class from what he's faced as of late. So I think the Lakers play through Anthony Davis. They play a ton better at home. They play with a lot more juice at home. Oklahoma City is really good. I mean, they're a really good team on the road or at home. But I think just matchup-wise and stylistically, I think the Lakers are going to be the side here. So I like the Lakers to win this game outright. I think they win it convincingly as well, man. So I'm going to probably be laying some Lakers like -2, -3-ish to get some plus money. But I just think matchup-wise, it's really good. They got a lot of defenders to throw at Shea. They're a little bit undersized. If Hartenstein gets in foul trouble, I don't know where they go at. So that means that's more Anthony Davis. I expect to see LeBron on the block a little bit more, playing inside the paint. And he'll be able to take away some of the stuff that J-Dub wants to do as well. So I think it's a good matchup for them. If they can get, Austin Reeves and D'Lo to kind of hit some outside shots to loosen up that defense where they can play inside out, I like the Lakers' chances to win convincingly here. So give me the Lakers.
I don't think they need D'Lo to knock down shots because Dalton Connect has been really good for them in the
But
starting
but is
lineup.
he? I seen he was a game time decision with quadriceps, right?
I see him probable on the injury
Okay, that's
report.
cool.
Let me
Yeah,
just
I
double
was
check.
unsure if he was gonna be going.
Yeah, probably on the official injury report right now over on NBA.com, the one that I use. But yeah, the only part that's giving me trouble about backing the Lakers has, at least this season, has been they just have not been very good against teams that are above 500. And I'll break those numbers down for you here quickly. So the Lakers against teams that are above 500 this season, 2-5 straight up, 1-6 ATS, 4-3 towards the over. If they're playing those teams at home, again, very small sample, 1-2 straight up, 0-3 ATS. And then you take a look against teams that are 500 or worse. Lakers in those spots, 6-1 straight up, but still not very good against the spread, just 3-4 ATS in those spots here. But it just seems like you mentioned, that they match up well against this Oklahoma City Thunder team, where now the question becomes, all right, can Isaiah Hardenstein stay out of foul trouble
Yeah. Yep.
against Anthony Davis? And if he's able to, then I think that gives the Thunder a good chance to win this game. Anthony Davis against Isaiah Hardenstein in his career, I mean, he's dominated on the boards against them, averaging 22.86 points per game, 12.6 rebounds. And then Anthony Davis, just in general, rebounding against the Thunder, he's been very, very good on that front. So until the Lakers prove it to me here, Lonte, I'll lay it here with the Thunder minus the 3. But again, this could be an ultimate get up spot. This is a cup game. Looking at the cup standings here, let me see if I can go back and find that. All right, so in this group, at least, this is Group B. So the Lakers need a win here. They need a win convincingly. Because they're minus 16 in point differential. That was a game against the Phoenix Suns, I think, on Tuesday, where they lost by 23.
Yep. That's why I said I wanted to lay an alternate number, because I think if they win, they're going to try to win by margin to cover up what happened in that game.
Right. And then so I think the winner of this game probably ends up as the team that advances, or at least gets close to the San Antonio Spurs, because Spurs right now 2-1 in this group, plus 14. The Thunder are 1-1. There are plus 10. So this could be a game where we maybe see some margin, or at least them trying to score a lot of points, which kind of leads me to liking the over in this game at over 230.5. Your launch again for the total.
Total wise, I mean it's tough. I would stay away, but I just think that if OKC is my thing is, so if OKC is able to turn these guys over and they're loose with the ball and the Lakers aren't hitting shots and OKC can pack the paint, then we could kind of see an under game. But if the Lakers are hitting shots and they're able to play within the Florida offense in the half court, the Lakers don't want to run. They want to play in the half court. And they don't shoot a ton of threes. So, I mean, they got a high percentage of, like, well, I guess decent percentage of 3-point shooting, but they don't shoot a ton. I think they're like 25th or 24th in 3-point makes. So they don't make a ton. I know JJ wants to shoot a lot more, but I mean, just don't have that's just not the makeup of this team. And maybe they'll get some more guys during the trade deadline, but as of right now, I don't see it. But if they're able to play inside out and those guys are shooting the ball, I think Oklahoma City should be able to score as well. But just too much unknown for me. So I would pass on the total.
Yeah, so I mentioned this for the Lakers on in cup games, obviously dating back to last season. 6-1 straight up, 5-2 ATS, 4-3 towards the over. The loss I think came this season, which was against Phoenix. But at home this season in cup games, 3-0 straight up, 2-1 ATS, 2-1 towards the over. Again, very, very, very small samples here, just because the cup game started last season. So to take that for what it's worth, the Lakers do kind of take these games a little bit more serious. But Phoenix, again, they dismantled this team earlier this week in I believe it was a cup game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was against the Suns there. So anything else for this game, Lonte?
That's it, man. I think it's gonna be one of the better games on the slate. So yeah.
All right. That is the last game on the schedule here. 2 orders of business left. We'll go to our lock and dog, and then we'll put together our Underdog Fantasy entry for this Friday card. Lance, you want to leave us out with your lock and dog?
Yeah, man, we can. I sure can. Let's go to So let's just go ahead and lock up the Lakers. That's the one I wanted to do. One of my favorite slates one of my favorite plays on the card is the Lakers. I mean, whether if you want to plus 1.5, money line, whatever you want to do, I think that's a great bet right there. And for all the reasons that we just went over, for the dog, I'm trying to find something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. What am I doing to go with the dog? Let's go with the Clippers. Let's go with the Clippers. We talked about it. We like it. I think Minnesota comes out a little bit. If you want to play this, I'm playing this. Minnesota first half, Clippers full game. That pays out a decent amount. I got to look at the updated ones. I'll do that while you give your handicap. But I mean, the Clippers, I think it's no debate they're the better team right now. They're going to get one of their better scorers back. The defense of Minnesota has been lacking, as Ant has been, voicing his opinion over the past few days. I just think that the Clippers are going to come in, they're going to play defense, going to be able to stop everything that Minnesota wants to do. I mean, you got to cut off the head of the snake, which is Ant. And if you do that, they have multiple guys to be able to throw at Ant to have him struggle. So I like the Clippers in this spot.
All right. For my lock, I think I'm just going to take the Cavs team total over. It is 124.5. But again, Atlanta, we know defensively has not been very good. They've been one of the more profitable teams, if not the most profitable team towards the over in their home game since last season. They did just put up 124 points against them in the game at home. But this is a red spot for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's also a cup game as well, right? So they want to get that point differential to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and not that they really need it. Actually, they do need it because they're 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
So they need this win number one if they want to advance in the Eastern group of Group C for the NBA Cup. But they're also plus 15 right now when it comes to the Cup. So they want to get margin here if they want to win this game as well. So because the Bulls and Celtics do go at it tonight here as well. So give me the Cavs team total over 124.5. For my dog, I like your call on the Clippers there. So I won't.
Yeah, I was gonna go Lakers for the
up.
dog, but I kind of flipped it because I think they were like right around even money. So
yeah. I don't want to go double game and just like do an alt spread on the Cavs because I do think we could win this game by double digits. You know what? The injuries there are making me nervous as well. So I did just see Cade is participating in shoot around here tonight or today right now. So it looks like he may end up playing in this game.
Yeah, I hope so.
God, is it Portland?
Oh man, listen, I like Portland. I
just sweat out Portland here tonight. I think it's Portland. Give me Portland plus a 7, of course, plus 230 as my dog here tonight. I know they're dealing with injuries there, but this team has been feisty. It seems like they figured out their third quarter woes because they were absolutely atrocious in that third quarter. But Sacramento seems a little bit fraudulent to me right now. No DeMar DeRozan. So that's another offensive weapon that you're not going to have for this Sacramento Kings team. Aiden has been playing well. The younger guys, I think they'll step up here tonight. So I like the spot here for the Portland Trail Blazers. So I'll take them as my dog here tonight, plus 230 on the money line there. So again, lock Cavs team total over 124.5. Dog Portland Trail Blazers plus a 7, plus 230 on the money line. All right, let's do our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight here, Lonte, and then we'll wrap it up here. Again, UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Where do we want to start here? There's a lot of stuff that I do like here.
Yeah, me too. Well, I think you like Aiden PR, right?
Yeah, I think we both like it, right?
Yeah, I like Aiden. Yeah, I like Aiden PR.
So let's go 8 to start it off. That number is going to be, let's see, 8. Where's 8? All right, here we go. So his PR is 26.5. So we'll go higher on that. Do we like? Anthony Davis tonight.
Love him. PR. Love it.
Anthony Davis. All right. So Davis's PR will be 38.5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's 2. What else do you like?
Let's see. What else do we like here? I have. I'll let you. I'll let you choose. Like, I mean, I think we do this at every underdog show. I'll give you 2 or 3. So I like Scotty Barnes PRA.
Okay.
I like that. Now, I guess this is a caveat, but I would like Ayo Dosunmu points higher. I just want to know if Kobe is playing. So I guess that's kind of a cop out, but I think he'll see more minutes if Kobe's out, and we expect a high pace game in that with Boston. So I think we see a ton of points from the side, especially from the guard play. So I got those 2, and it's one more that I like. Where are we at?
See what Scotty has done against the Heat.
Oh yeah, I like Mo Wagner higher PR. Brooklyn's front line banged up. He should be able to eat on the glass.
So Scotty Barnes last 2 games, he's been rebounding real well. Assists have been there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind Scotty.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever you want to choose. Whatever you want to choose.
All right, we'll go Scotty. PRA, the number's at 34.5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, I like this. All right. So our entry for tonight, we'll start it off here with DeAndre Ayton, points and rebounds higher, 26.5. Anthony Davis, points and rebounds higher, 38.5. And then Scotty Barnes, PRA, higher, 34.5. That $10 entry will get you a return of $60. So every $10 that you do put in, you'll get a return of $60. So this is the time. It's feast week over at Underdog Fantasy. They have a lot of discount tokens. They have a lot of profit boost up until tomorrow. I used my profit boost yesterday on Underdog, and it turned into really nice odds there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the window with any of them, but this is the week, guys. I would tell you right now, if you don't have an account, get over there. Just make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN, and we can hopefully cash this tonight and put some more money in your pockets to close out the month of November. All right, that's going to do it here for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Lonte, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
That's it, man. Enjoy the sports. We got a ton this weekend, so bet responsibly, of course. But yeah, man, we got a ton to look forward to. Ton to talk about on Monday or Tuesday whenever we get back. So yeah,
100%. We'll be back next week for the NBA Gambling Podcast. So look out for us then. Again, make sure guys get over there at underdogfantasy.com.
Yes, sir.
Use that promo code NBA SGPN. And also the merch store. Big sale going on, 25% off of everything through Sunday. Just get over to the merch store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Make sure you use that promo code Black Friday. You'll get 25% off of everything over there on the merch store. Make sure you guys follow Lonte over on the Twitter machine at XXLonteXX. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. Till then, good luck with your bets this weekend. Enjoy the games. And always remember to let it ride.